Hey, everybody. I wanted to answer a couple questions about Wildflower Road. These are a bunch of questions that I get pretty often, and so I thought I would take some time over the next few days as I'm preparing for the launch to answer some of those questions. So, the first one is, and I've gotten this probably more than any other, is why Montana? So, a lot of you probably know that I live in Ohio and I've lived everywhere, all around the country during my life. But for the most part, Ohio is my home. And why would I write about a state completely across the country from me? Well, it really started with my parents. My parents started visiting Montana when I was in high school. And then I joined them for a family trip when I was in college. And that's really when I fell in love with it. We went to this little place in West Yellowstone, Montana, right on the Madison River, and it was called Campfire Lodge. And it is probably my favorite place to be in the whole United States. And I love going there and renting one of their cabins and staying there. I mean, there's nothing better than like going out and having your breakfast with the Madison River right in your front yard. It's fantastic. And they have this cafe that has these huge pancakes and cinnamon rolls and pieces of bacon that are like this big, and it's fantastic. And so you'll definitely, when you read Wildflower Road, you'll definitely see a lot of the inspiration of where I got that setting. It's because I go there almost every year to visit this one place, and it's really an ode to how much I love it. And really, when I started writing this book, I was living in Colorado, and my father had actually just passed away. And my father was a writer. He had written several nonfiction books, and he was always interested in writing a novel. And so he had started encouraging me to think about writing. And, I was busy. I had a bunch of little kids and didn't really have time for it. And I was a mommy blogger, was having moderate success with that, but had thought about writing a novel. And so then actually one of the last things that we did together was when I visited him, we went to a writer's workshop together, and it was really cool. It was the first time I had gone to something like that. And so it was a little while later, and he had passed away, and I was, kind of grieving, not kind of grieving. I was grieving his loss, definitely. Um and I just kept coming back to the idea of Montana. I actually went to Montana, to West Yellowstone, for the first birthday that he had when he was no longer with us, and went by myself and spent 5 days just in, going around Yellowstone National Park and walking through the town of West Yellowstone, which I love so much, and really started thinking about the ideas for this novel. And really, I never thought I would publish it. It was never my goal to be a published novelist. I'm thankful that this is where I'm at now. But that dream came, pretty, much later in life. I wasn't that kid who, from the time they were in kindergarten, always wanted to be a novelist. So I got the idea for this book because it was hard as I was watching my parents when they were supposed to be in the time of their life in retirement after raising 6 kids and working so hard to give us the life that we had. And then they got to retirement and they really couldn't experience, the joy of retirement because of my dad's health. And so in this book, I gave them a retirement. Some of you might have seen the movie Atonement. It's my favorite movie, my favorite book. It is not PG, just as a disclaimer. There are a few parts that are a little, yeah, fast forward. But they kind of did something in there where one of the characters creates a alternate future for some of the other characters. And I won't give any more away because it'll give away the whole story. But I wanted to kind of do that for my parents and give them a retirement that they never had. Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for watching. And so I gave them a fly fishing resort on the Madison River. And I imagined that in their retirement, they took over this fly fishing resort and got to see their families grow, right there along the banks of the Madison River where my dad loved to fly fish. And so you'll see Chuck and Shirley Matthews in this book share a lot of the same traits as my parents. And even down to like the fact that like in this, Chuck Matthews smokes cigars. And, it's Christian fiction, and we often don't have things like smoking cigars in our books. But I'm glad that they let me keep it in, because my dad, for years and years and years, would smoke these Tiparillo cigars. And so whenever I see one of those white tips, on a parking lot floor or whatever, it always makes me think of him. And so even down to that detail, I was able, or like the way that he laughs was my dad's laugh. And so that was really why I wanted to write in Montana. And then obviously Montana is the most beautiful state. I love going there. The mountains are gorgeous. The rivers are gorgeous. Going in Yellowstone, I have very much the same experience that Shane has, because Shane kind of gets taken from Ohio, suburban Ohio, and put in Montana. And so these same experiences that he has adjusting to that more rustic type of life is exactly what I experienced when I first went there. So I hope you'll enjoy it. It's definitely a fish out of water story, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. Hi, Johanna. You're from Ohio too. Yay! Go Bucks. Unless you're one of the other teams, and then go Rockets or go Zips or Bearcats, whatever. And then for the last thing I wanted to do as part of this Q&A is I wanted to share the dedication, because I know that, I'm not expecting everybody to read my book or buy my book. But especially for, my family and my friends who knew my dad, who know my mom, I thought it would be good for you to hear the dedication. So here it is. Let me scroll down because I can't see all of the hi Donna. Oh, Florida must be nice. It's starting to get cold up here in Ohio, so I bet Florida is very nice. Hi JC. So here's the dedication. To my mom and every other person who lost a spouse too soon, your courage to keep on living with a broken heart is admirable. And you'll definitely see Ryan is still coping. Ryan is my heroine, and she is still coping with the loss of her first husband. And so this is definitely dedicated to all those who have lost a loved one way too soon. And then to continue, to my dad, in my image of heaven, a river just like the Madison runs through it, and you're wading knee deep with a fly rod in hand and the perfect cast each time. So hopefully you were able to enjoy this little, memorial that I have for my dad, and a big, love letter to my mom for how strong she's been over the past 5 years. So tune in. I'm going to be doing short videos like this every day until launch, and you're welcome to submit some questions to me if you have any specific ones that you want to hear the answer to. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for all of your questions, or all of your comments. So I look forward to seeing you guys over the next few days.